Hi, this is RoopaPrasad, the Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, MITS College. So today we are going to discuss about the topic called as network basics. So it is a series of computer networks. In this topic, today we discuss about the contents are like this. So first we talk about the data communications. In this one, we talk about the characteristics of data communication as well as the components involved in data communication. Then we go for the how data can be represented for communication, and then we discuss about the data flow. These are the contents which we are going to discuss today. First of all, before starting the section, first we discuss what is a network. Okay, so what is a network? Network is called as a set of devices or systems that are interconnected between each other through some communication channel. Okay, so what is the purpose of forming a network means in order to transfer the data, in order to share the information, in order to transfer the data from one system to another system. That is the main purpose of forming a network. Okay, in this context, we talk about the data communication. Okay, so what do you mean by data communication? Data communications are the exchange of data between two devices via some form of transmission medium. So, what we call it as data communication means it is exchange of data. That is a transfer of data between the two devices. Transfer of data between the two devices. How the data can be transferred means some form of transmission medium. By using some transmission media, we are going to transfer the data from one system to the other system. So in order to have the data communication, so in order to perform the data communication, what is required means the communicating devices must be the part of the communication system. Okay, so if the device is the part of the communication system only, then only it can able to transfer the data. So which is a combination of hardware and software. Okay, so on what we call the data is referred as information. So when we are communicating, that means when you are transferring the data, when you are communicating, then what you are going to do, you are going to share the information. That is, you are going to share the data. Okay, this sharing of data can be local or remote. Okay, we can share the data locally or we can share the data remotely. So what I mean to say is data communication means it is the exchange of data between the two devices. How the data can be exchanged through some transmission media, that is through some communication channel, the data is going to be transferred. Okay, so then we talk about the effectiveness of data communication. So if you want to have the data communication effectively, if you want to done the data communication effectively, what is required means it requires some characteristics. Those characteristics are delivery, and second one is called as accuracy, third one is timeliness, and fourth one is jitter. Okay, if we have these four characteristics, then only we can call it as a data communication as an efficient manner. We can perform the communication of data in an efficient manner. Okay, so what are the characteristics that tells the effectiveness of the data communication are delivery, and the second characteristic is accuracy, third one is called as timeliness, and fourth one is the jitter. Okay, first we talk about first one. First, what is the first characteristic? That is the delivery. Okay, the system must deliver the data to the correct destination. Delivery means what? It has to give the data. So whatever may be the destination, to the destination only it has to deliver the data. For example, data is transferring from a device A to device B. Okay, delivery means A is sending the data and B has to receive the data. So A will send the data and B will receive the data. So this data communication system must deliver the data to the correct destination. Whatever the destination it has given, to that destination only the data has to be delivered, not to anybody else. Okay, so data must be received by intended device or user and only by that device or user. Okay, so what is meant by intended means? Intended means to whom we refer. That means if A is sending the data to B device, B only has to receive the data, not the C. Okay, so that we call it the intended device. Okay, so data communication loop, one of the main characteristics is the delivery. It has to deliver the data to the correct destination. And next characteristic is called as accuracy. Accuracy means the system must deliver the data accurately. Accurately means correctly. So whatever the sender has sent, that only has to be delivered. That only has to be delivered. The data should not be modified or it should not be altered during the transmission. So data communication means the data is going to be exchanged from one device to the other device. So while exchanging, it has to transfer the data in an effective manner, okay, to the correct destination and without modifying or without altering. Okay. And next we talk about another characteristic that is called as timeliness, which is a very important one. So what is meant by timeliness? Timeliness means the system must deliver the data in a timely manner. Okay, within that particular time only the data has to be transferred. Okay, if we deliver the data lately, then there is no use of that data. So whenever the data has to be received, that time only we have to deliver the data. Okay, so data delivered late are useless, so it is mainly used in the video and audio. Okay, so for video and audio communication, timely delivery means delivering the data as they are produced in the same order. Okay, that type of delivery is called as real-time transmission. Whatever is producing here, that has to be received by the receiver. That we call it as a real-time transmission. And in data communication, timeliness plays an important role. And the fourth one that we are going to discuss now, one of the characteristic is jitter. Okay, jitter means refers to the variation in the packet arrival time. So actually we are going to transfer the data in the form of packets. Okay, from the source to destination, the data is going to be delivered in the form of packets. Okay, so one packet has first we send the first packet, then we send the second packet. So the variation in the packet arrival time is called as a jitter. For example, one video packet are sent every 30 seconds. So first packet arrive in 30, that's in 3D. That is 3 milliseconds delay. Okay. Next is 4 milliseconds delay. That means that is an uneven delay. Okay. That is not that should not be present in the data communication. What we say jitter refers to the variation in the packet arrival time. Jitter refers to the variation in the packet arrival time. Then we talk about the components of data communication. So there are 5 components are involved in data communication. So what we have said, data communication means it is a transfer of data, exchange of data between the two devices. So, and these are the components involved in data communication. The first and foremost component is called as a sender. Sender is a device which is going to send the data, which is going to deliver the data, and receiver is a device which is going to receive the data. Okay, and how the sender and receiver are connected means through some transmission medium. Okay, through some transmission medium only the data is going to be transferred from device 1 to device 2. Okay, and what we are going to transfer? We are going to transfer the information. That is the fourth component. So, what is the first component? Sender is the first component, and receiver is the second component, and medium is the third component. That is, a medium is some transmission medium, some cable, some wide cable, or wire. It can be wireless also. Okay, some transmission medium through which the data is going to be transferred. And the third component and the fourth component is a data. That is a message that what we are going to transfer. These are the 4 components involved in data communication. And foremost important component, that is the fifth component, we call it as a protocol. Okay, so what is meant by protocol? Protocol means a set of rules that govern the data communication. So in order to transfer the data, we have to follow some set of rules. That set of rules is called as a protocol. Set of rules means how the data has to be transferred, when it has to be reached, how it should be transferred. All that will be determined with protocol. So these are the basics. So that much is enough. So what are the 5 components involved in data communication? One is called as a sender. The sender means the device which is going to send the data. And the second one is called as a receiver. That means the device which is going to receive the data. And in these between these two, we have the transmission medium. That means through which the data is going to be transferred. And what is going to transfer is a message. That is a data, or we can call it as information. And upon all this is very important, that we call it the protocol. Protocol means set of rules that govern the data communication. How the data communication should happen would be decided by the rules, would be decided by this set of rules that we call it as a protocol. Okay, so these are the components. And coming to the data representation. So what is meant by data representation? Data is nothing but the information. Okay, how that data is represented in the system. Okay, how the data is represented in the system. So information will be of different forms such as text. Data can be text, it can be a number, it can be an image, it can be audio and video. How these are represented means how text is represented. How text is represented? Text is represented as a bit pattern. Text is represented as a bit pattern because in the system everything is in the form of zeros and ones. That is a bits. Okay, that is a sequence of bits. What we call it as zeros and ones. Okay, so different sets of bit patterns have been designed to represent the text symbols. Such set is called as a code. Okay, and the process of representing symbols is called coding. Okay, each set is called a code. Okay, so what is text? Text is represented as a bit pattern, set of bit patterns, and we call the set as a code. And the process of representing symbols is called as coding. Okay, and what are the available patterns available? That is Unicode. One of the method is called as a Unicode. One of the representation is called as Unicode, which uses 32 bits to represent a symbol. Every character is a symbol. Every character is a symbol. So 32 bits are used to represent one character. Okay, that we call it as a Unicode. Another most important, most used format is there that we call it as a ASCII. That is ASCII. That is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So that uses 7-bit or 8-bit to represent a character. Whereas Unicode uses 32 bits to represent a character. Then we talk about how numbers are represented. Okay, so numbers are also represented by bit patterns. Okay, text is also represented by bit characters, and as well as numbers are also represented by bit characters, but that code we are not using to represent numbers. Actually, we are using ASCII code or we are using Unicode to represent the text, but here for representing numbers we are not using the ASCII codes. The number is directly converted to binary number. Okay, the number is directly converted to binary number. So we have a number system is there. So in the number system, we are going to represent the number as a bit pattern, as in the form of zeros and ones. Okay. Then coming to images, images are also represented by bit patterns. And this image is composed of matrix of pixels. Okay, image is composed of matrix of pixels. Pixel is nothing but the picture element, and that is nothing but a small dot. Okay, and the size of the pixel depends upon the resolution. Then coming to audio, how audio means audio refers to the recording or broadcasting of sound. So audio is by nature different from text, numbers or images. So it is continuous. It is continuous. Audio is continuous and it is not discrete. Okay, in the same manner, video is broadcasting or recording of picture or movie. So video can be produced as a continuous entity or it can be combination of images, each of a discrete entity arranged to convey the idea of motion. Okay, so how the data is represented in data communication means data can be represented as a text, data can be represented as number, data can be represented as image, audio and video. These are the data representations. Then we talk about data flow. The data flow, in the name itself we can see how the data is moving, how the data is transferring from one device to the other device. Okay, so communication between two devices, can be simplex, half duplex or full duplex. These are the data flows. Okay, how the data is flowing from one device to the other device, either in the simplex form, either in the half duplex form or either in the full duplex form. Okay, we'll see one by one. So simplex. So what is a simplex mode? This is a simplex mode. By looking at this diagram, you can able to understand. So this is simplex form. So this is a one device and this is another device. This is monitor. Think that this is monitor and this is a mainframe system. Okay, from one system to other system, the data is transferring. Okay, in simplex mode, what happens? The data is going to be transferred in only one direction. Okay, one device can be the receiver, another device can be the one device is sender, and the device is the receiver. Okay, and the data flows from sender to receiver. Okay, the data will not flow in this direction, only in unidirectional. That is, in only one direction the data can flow. Okay, so what we can say, only one of the two devices on the link can transmit. So this we call it as a transmission medium, or we can call it as a link. Okay, on this link only one device data is going to be transmitted. That means one device is going to send, the other device is going to receive. Okay, and what are the examples we can say? We can say monitors, keyboards, or the simplex devices. That means what? Keyboard. From the keyboard, we are entering the data. Okay, we are not receiving the data from the system. For example, keyboard is one device and monitor is another device. System is another device. Keyboard sends the data, system receives the data. Okay, and what about the monitor? System gives the data and monitor receives the data. Okay, the system is going to send the data and we are going to view the data on the monitor. Okay, so these are called as an simplex devices. These are the example of simplex devices. Okay, then we talk about another type of data flow that we call it as half duplex. So in half duplex mode, this is half duplex mode. This is station 1 and this is station 2. In data communication or in networks, we can call it as a device or we can call it as a station also. Okay, so from one station to the another station. Okay, how the data is transferring from one station to another station means this station can be able to send and receive the data, and this station can also send and receive the data. That means this device can send and receive the data, and this device can able to send and receive the data, but not at the same time. That means what? When this device is sending the data, the other device has to receive. Okay, when this device is sending the data, this device has to receive. That means what? When one device is sending, the other can only receive. Okay, and vice versa. Though, so what we can say, each station can both transmit and receive, but not at the same time. Okay, so when one is sending, the other is going to receive, and vice versa. When the other is sending, the one is going to receive. Okay, so here what happens, the link entire capacity can be used by one device at a time. Okay, in simplex mode, what happens, only the capacity can be used by any one device. But here both devices can use, but not at the same time. So whichever is going to transmit the data, that device is only utilizing the link capacity. Okay, examples of walkie-talkies. These are the most common examples of half duplex. And then we talk about the full duplex. That is a third type of data flow. So it is also called as a duplex. Full duplex can also be called as duplex. Here both stations can transmit and receive the data simultaneously. That means at the same time, both devices can be able to send and receive the data. Okay. So how the data is going to be transferred means in the form of signals. So how the signals going in one direction share the capacity of the link. Okay, with the signals going in the other direction. And also one thing, okay, this sharing can be occur in two ways. Either the link must contain two physically separate transmission paths, one for sending and other for receiving, or the capacity of the channel is divided between the signals traveling in both directions. Okay, that means what is this one? This is a link. Okay, this is a link between one device and the other device. Okay, and this link can be shared by the two devices at the same time. At the same time, this station 1 is using the link and station 2 can also utilize the link. Okay, how they can utilize means by sharing. One way is the link has two physically separate transmission paths, or the entire capacity of the link can be shared logically between the station 1 and station 2, one for receiving and one for sending. Okay, and these are the data flows. Once again we'll check. Okay, so how many types of data flows are there? One we call it as simplex mode, and the one is called as half duplex, and the one is called as a full duplex mode. So in simplex mode, what happens? Only one device can be able to send the data. Okay, and the other device can be able to receive the data. At every time, only one device can be able to send the data. That means the direction of flow is unidirection. The direction of flow is unidirection. Okay, another example, what we can say means TV remote. Okay, from TV, we are sending the signal and the TV is going to receive the signal. Okay, now vice versa, it will not be done. Okay, we are going to give the signal through the remote and TV is going to receive the signal. So one is sending and the other one is going to receive. That type of transmission is called as simplex mode. That type of transmission mode is called as simplex mode. And the other one is called as half duplex. That means what? both devices can be able to send and receive the data, but not at the same time. So if one device is sending the data, the other device has to receive. If this device is going to send the data, this device has to receive. Okay. So this is bidirectional, but not at the same time. Okay. Whereas coming to full duplex, it is a bidirectional transmission. That means the devices can be able to send and receive the data at the same time. That means the link is shared between the two devices, that is a sending device as well as a receiving device. Okay, and these are the references I used to prepare this PPT. And if you have any queries, you can give it in the form. Hope you understand. Thank you.